Eastern Airlines was a major U.S. airline with over 300 aircraft and 100 destinations. But in 1991, it all came crashing down. Eastern was founded in 1926 as Pitcairn Aviation. At the time, the airline mostly flew mail. In 1929, Clement Keyes, a man who was involved in many aviation-related companies, bought Pitcairn Aviation. He renamed the company to Eastern Air Transport. Shortly after, General Motors purchased the airline. After that, in 1934, the name was changed to Eastern Airlines. The famous fighter ace Eddie Rickenbacker purchased the airline in 1938 for $3.5 million. By 1939, Eastern Airlines was the fourth largest passenger airline in the U.S. by passenger miles flown. Rickenbacker led Eastern to be the most profitable airline in the post-war era for a while. But by the 1950s, Eastern was falling behind. They had bought Colonial Airlines in 1956, which allowed them to expand into Canada. But Rickenbacker refused to buy jets because he thought they were unappealing to the flying public. In 1959, a man by the name of Malcolm McIntyre took over as CEO. In 1960, Eastern finally got its first jetliners, the DC-8. They started flying longer routes with the faster and larger jets. Over the next few years, Eastern got Boeing 720s, a version of the 707, and 727s. Around that time, Eastern got this new logo. Eastern launched their commuter airline, Eastern Airlines Shuttle, in 1961, and by the late 1960s, Eastern was expanding to more Caribbean destinations. Eastern bought a small airline in 1967 to further break into the Caribbean market. In 1977, Eastern got to try the A300 for free for half a year, and ended up buying them. Eastern also bought the L-1011 and 747s, though they ended up selling their 747s to Qantas. Eastern also became the official airline of Disney World. In 1983, Eastern started flying the 757s, but the purchase of these new efficient planes put the airline in massive debt. In 1986, Eastern was sold to Texas Air. In 1987, the FAA fined Eastern Airlines for safety violations. Eastern Airlines Shuttle was sold off in 1989, but by March the airline had to file for bankruptcy due to strikes, high fuel prices, debt, and other reasons. Eastern tried to stay afloat over the next 2 years, but on January 19, 1991, Eastern had flown its final flight.